Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from vacation still in France, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at a full slate. And by full slate, I mean literally every team in the NBA is playing tonight, Nate, as we are all off on Tuesday night for the elections that we are having in this country, or at least in the U.S. So no basketball on Tuesday night in the NBA. So everybody playing tonight. Plenty to look at and choose from here. We've got a couple game videos up for you and our player props that we're bringing you each and every weekday of this regular season. So make sure to like and subscribe to that page and continue to follow along with us. Also head to thelines.com. That's where we have our great written content for you all season long, and our odds finder tool that you guys can use to make sure you are shopping those lines and player props in the NBA across U.S. sportsbook to the best of your ability this season. Nate, let's go ahead and get into each of those lines quickly and then talk about our game video here, Boston and Memphis.
Yes, sir. We got Wiz +2 at the Hornets. We got Rockets +4 at Magic. Thunder +2 at Pistons. Josh put his money down on OKC there. We got Pelicans -5.5 at the Pacers. The other game we break down. Suns are -2 at Philly. Embiid questionable, Harden out. Bucks -3 at the Hawks. The Blazers +7 at Heat. Raptors +4 at Bulls. Pascal sadly out a couple weeks. The game we're going to break down here right now, the Celtics -3.5 at the Grizz. It was -2 last night. Knicks are +4.5 at Mini. Nuggets -7 at Spurs. Nets +6 at Mavs. Kings +8 at Warriors. Lakers +4 at Jazz. And the Cavaliers -2.5 at the Clippers. Small line there, since we just discussed the Cavs are maybe the second best team in the East right now, but maybe the third best team, the Boston Celtics, whose only losses are to the Cavs in overtime by a point each time, and a scheduled loss against the Bulls, if you will, after their hot 3-0 start, a back-to-back in Chicago. Couldn't get up for that one. Otherwise, they're the best offense in the NBA. Without Ime Udoka, I don't know how much I want to credit the coaching in terms of turning into an insane spread attack, if you will. Their three-point shooting is just incredible. I mean, 16 per game, fifth in percentage. Last game, they went 27 for 51, and all 9 dudes who saw the floor hit a three. Franchise record in threes, and Tatum has the franchise record in terms of points through 8 games. So they're averaging about 119 per game coming into this matchup. Memphis, on a home back-to-back here, took care of Washington last night, and interestingly, really slowed down the pace to win 103-97, I believe, 93 pace, whereas their last home game, they played it with a 103 pace. So, I mean, people aren't buying that. The total's up about a point, and the Celtics spread is up about 1.5 since openers because I think of the back-to-back situation. But mostly because, both of these teams have regressed on defense with essentially with their rim protectors out, right? Jaren Jackson and Rob Williams are out all season here. And both of their offenses look even better, with Desmond Bane taking a step forward, with both Tatum and Brown taking a step forward, and the Celtics adding a third playmaker. And you look at the recent results with these teams. I mean, they gone over three straight. A Grizzlies overtime win was the only time the Grizz have won in 13 meetings. This was March 21. The Grizzlies won 132-126, and I looked at the Celtics box score. They had no one besides Jaylen Brown in there who could get a bucket. I mean, Jeff Teague had 26, and Semi Ojeleye started. So I just thought that was ridiculous that you could still get 126 on this team. The last time they met with both Ja and Tatum, both guys had 38, right? Another Celtics win. Ja and Tatum are 7th and 8th in free throws this season, respectively. Both are just absolute. I mean, they're 3rd and 4th in MVP odds right now. Both are just, throw absolutely in their bags offensively. Yeah. So I think the Grizz are going to, even if it is a slower half-court game against the efficiency that we're going to see on both sides here, I do like the over. We saw the Grizz play with a 97 pace against the Nets and hit 258 because the Nets can't play much defense. Honestly, the Celtics defense is not good right now, though. I mean, Al Horford's just going to be mucked up with Steven Adams. He's not going to be able to impact down there as much as you would like. Grant Williams is obviously not a rim protector. So it's a lot of just trading buckets with this team. So I kind of like the over, but I do like the Celtics where you can get them at -3 or less. I mean, if it creeps up more, I would say you have to use a teaser. And so the fact that I like over and Celtics means why not just tease it down, take the C's with a 227 total right now on the money line.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Ja's going to come to play, I imagine. But yeah, really looking at the idea of why Boston does so well against this team, at least in recent history. I know you're throwing out some numbers of them just owning them for at least like the last couple of seasons, but really, just even further back. But the last couple of seasons specifically, wing defense, getting back on defense, very fluid transition defense does all things that Boston has. Right, you need to be able to box out. Not Boston's strength without Rob Will necessarily. I mean, obviously the Grizz are currently a better rebounding team, but as far as like limiting transition points, limiting points off of turnovers, and their the other team getting fast break points, all those things that if you can force Memphis to play in the half court, basically, I think you feel pretty good about it. Obviously, the man on the other side of the court in Memphis and Ja, it seems to sort of have progressed to a point that he kind of transcends any kind of lack of fluid offense on Memphis, combined with the fact that I think Bane has also just sort of found his role. There's a lot more space for him now that they're not trying to feed Dylan Brooks the ball, right? Like clearly there's a second banana. Jaren Jackson's not demanding the ball on the wing after like popping out instead of rolling to the basket after a screen. So all that stuff also is without Dylan Brooks and Jaren Jackson being as effective, and it's seeing it any time on the floor for Triple J or really as much for Dylan Brooks this season. I think it also does clearly hurt your defense, right? I like the depth that Memphis has. I do like the fact that they still were able to sort of, just slide in the young man Aldama there and sort of have that be a nice addition on offense and sort of play some of that similar role of being, versatile on offense with that pick and pop kind of play that they're not going to get from Triple J for a long time this year, apparently, if they get it at all. But the defense isn't quite the same either, as what Triple J was bringing as a defensive player of the year candidate. So everything for Memphis that was really the like strength of what they did and it continued to be the way that their play style is, right? They were in the top either 1, 2, or 3 in terms of second chance points, rebounding, offensive rebounding, and then getting the ball and going in fast break. And they're not anywhere near, they're, right outside the top 10 in most of those things at this point, or, definitely not 1 or 2 like they were in top 5 last year. So the fact that Boston's going to be able to get back on defense, make this a half court game is really what I like. I know their defense hasn't been what what you would expect it to have been last season, which isn't that shocking considering they don't have Robert Williams III. We're seeing how important he was. But the way that they do play defense and the way that they can, limit what you do in transition because they have a bunch of dudes that are 6'7" and also just as fast as anybody you have on your team does mean that I think they can keep and control the game against Memphis the way they had the bunch of last times they played them.
Yeah, I mean, look at the fourth quarter numbers here, which initially makes you want over because Memphis is fourth in scoring in the fourth and allows the third most points. But then you look at the net rating. I mean, they're 25th in defensive rating, which is basically what they are for all quarters. The Celtics, when it's winning time, they have been stepping up. They are second to Milwaukee with an 82% defensive rebounding rate. Memphis is all the way down to 25th in defensive rebounding. They have a -2 net rating. Celtics, a 4 net rating, much better defense. So it really makes me think that the Celtics can close this game more than anything. I do expect it to be close, so I think that's why I'm saying the -3 or 4 spread is a little worrisome on the road. But I mean, this team, it looks every part the contender. Memphis has been fluctuating pretty wildly because of that poor defense. And you look at what they give up. I mean, I talked about the Celtics being a spread offense. They're giving up the 5th most 3-point attempts this season, Memphis, and the 7th most makes. They're also giving up the 4th most free throws. So, I mean, offensively, I think that they can keep pace with John Bane attacking the rim. They're 4th in paint points. They're 6th in free throws. Celtics, not really limiting either of those in terms of the free throws. They are limiting fast break points, like you said. They are limiting assists, which doesn't really help you in this matchup. And what it all shakes down to is they're allowing 115. That certainly gets you close to the 231 we're looking at here. Memphis has gone under a couple times with the total still hitting about 235 this season. So yeah, usually their totals are higher than this. And they're usually around 236 when they're playing, I don't know, Sac or Portland. And right now you got to treat Boston the same way as those teams, especially when they hit the West Coast like this. You do tend to see a little bit more free-flowing games. And you're seeing such great offense right now from them. Like I said, with Tatum and Brown becoming just elite scorers and Brogdon fitting right in as that third option.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, with Boston, even though, the pace, it's still about 100. I mean, everybody seems to be playing a little bit faster this year, at least, even the sort of middle class of fast teams are playing at a pace of like 100 plus, right? So I think there's a bit more pace going on. And with the Celtics, it's like you said, it's just a different style right now than we've seen without really actually any kind of enforcer down low and the ability to protect the rim. They're just clearly gunning a little bit more than they might have if they had a little bit more defense in the paint. So that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along. We will be back with you each and every weekday of this regular season with our player props and game videos. So until we see you next, happy betting.